Have you ever seen those photos of people who were kind of ugly as teens only to grow up, or rather glow up, into absolutely stunning 8s, 9s, and 10s? Oh, come on, that's not even fair! Anyway, the same can happen to cars too. Hey guys, Stipe here with a list of 7 cars that went through the greatest glow-ups ever. Begin! BMW M6. When BMW decided to bring back the 6 Series in the early 2000s, the expectations were high. Yes, the badass shark nose big beamer is finally coming back. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't be excited enough about this situation. And then we saw it. That's no shark, that's a sad rodent. Sure, the side proportions were spot on, and I'd even give the controversial bangle butt a pass, but what's the deal with that face? Why are the headlights hanging so low? And what's with the hamster teeth? And worse yet, what's with that low-hanging bottom lip that they put on the M6? Usually the hardcore sporty models look better, but here, it's like they were inspired by those African tribes that put the plate disc in their mouths. It's awful, is what I'm trying to say for a car. Luckily, the next generation fixed all that. The already good side profile was further improved with its flow down line, which gave it a great sense of speed and appeal. The shape of the bangle butt was unchanged, but still completely transformed by these new taillights. And then, do I even have to explain why the new front is better looking than the old? I mean, look at it. It's wider, meaner, with more piercing intent. It's just, chef's kiss. I've said it before and I will say it again. The 3rd gen M6 is the best looking Beamer in a long time, be it the 2-door, 4-door, or the drop top variant. And judging for what the BMW designers are up to these days, it will probably remain so for a long while too. BMW, you peaked! You peaked! Mazda RX-7. Unlike the 6 Series, the problem with the RX-7 wasn't that it looked bad. It didn't. The problem was that it looked bland. Bland.
I know, it's bland.
Having that wow factor, even when stationary, is a huge appeal of owning a sports car. And when yours looks like some generic NPC coupe from the GTA San Andreas series, well, who's gonna spend their money on that?
I think I'll pass.
Granted, all the 80s coupes look this way, but that doesn't exactly help Mazda's case. You'll never hear this from a sports car buyer. Oh, good. It doesn't stand out. So when it was time to develop the 3rd gen RX-7, Mazda ran a competition between its 4 design studios, and well, this was the winner. The absolutely stunning FD3S. So curvaceous and seductive and so femme fatale was this new RX-7 that even Playboy named it their car of the year. Talk about a fucking compliment. I'm just saying Playboy does know a thing or two about seductive curves. But don't think that the FD was a simple case of make the old car smooth just because that was the 90s trend. No, the designer who won the competition, Hu Hanshin, aimed for a timeless design inspired by the Jaguar E-Type, a sort of design that could be displayed at a Pebble Beach concourse some 50 years later. Imagine that, a Mazda among this crowd. But you know what? Given that the FD-RX-7 is still to this day one of the prettiest cars to ever come out of Japan, I don't see a reason why not. Porsche Panamera. If you ever wondered why the first Panamera was so damn ugly, then look no further than this man. This is Wendelin Wiedeking, aka Wendy Man, former CEO of Porsche, and as you can see, he's a tall fella. This little detail very much influenced the look of this car. When Mr. CEO sat in the rear of the early Panamera prototype, he discovered a problem. Nein, das ist no good, as he probably said. There is no room. Yeah, no shit, Giant Sherlock. It's a passenger car, not a freakmobile. But Wendy Man had the final say, so the designers were forced to give the Panamera this hunchback, just so his giant head can fit. And well, look at it now. It's a saloon that's trying to have a swooping coupe profile, but ended up like a wagon. with an extra chromosome. It was a tragedy. Luckily, before it was time for the second generation, Wendy the Cloud Licker left Porsche, and well, this was the result. It's so much better. The front is sharper, the window line was improved, the taillights too, but let's not kid ourselves. It's the lack of a hunch that made the biggest difference. Plus, for all those who agree that headroom is important, there was now a proper wagon version too. But let me share a little secret with you. That variant was selling so poorly that it was discontinued in 2024. Turns out Panamera buyers care more about the looks than if their 6'3" tall kids will have enough cough room. Volvo V60. Like the RX-7, the Ford-era Volvos weren't exactly ugly. I mean, these were all fine-looking cars, but let's be honest, nothing special. Take the V60, for example. It's so generic looking that if you take its badges off, no one could tell what it is. And that's a shame because wagons are Volvo. It's what they're most famous for, and it's what they should be best recognized for. You see a no-nonsense brick on wheels with sharp corners, cold surfaces, and more space in the trunk than in your bed. Yep, that's a Volvo. But this, nuh-uh. Good thing that when the Chinese took over, Volvo went back to making boxy stuff again. This new design language introduced with the 2013 coupe concept turned their entire lineup of cars into some of the best looking ones ever. They were blunt, chiseled, masculine, and oh so good looking too. Again, take the V60 as an example. Right away, that's a Volvo, a proper one, a boxy one. Just about the only standout details here are the Thor's hammer headlights, while the rest is just clean surfaces forming simple shapes. And it works perfectly.
Perfection.
You know that quote, perfection is achieved not when there's nothing left to add, but when there's nothing left to take away? Beautiful quote. Well, I'll be damned if that isn't the best description of the new V60. What a design, and what a glow-up transformation. Hyundai Tiburon. Also known in some markets as the Hyundai Coupe, it may have been sold as a separate model, but really it was nothing but a two-door version of the boring Elantra. That meant it was front-wheel drive, not very powerful, not very fast, not really sporty, and if you take the RD2 facelift version, not very pretty either. Look at that front! Holy shit! It's got enough headlights to give you the arachnophobia. And what about those wheels? I swear my office chair has bigger ones. Or could it be that the body is just obese? Regular sized tires, blah, body. Are those fenders? Or rolls of fat? Ew, that's disgusting to think about.
Disgusting!
Now compare that lardy arachnid to what came after. This new Tiburon was no botched up Elantra anymore, but a whole new model designed from scratch. It was bigger, with a longer wheelbase, and overall better proportions. The whole design received universal praise, and some even went so far as to call it a copy of the Ferrari 456, as if that's a bad thing. P.S. If you have a red Tiburon, don't put fake Ferrari badges on it. Firstly, no girl will fall for that, and secondly, there's more to these cars than just having two similar lines. The 04 and the 06 facelifts improved the design even more, and there was also an attempt to make it go faster with the introduction of the V6. That didn't work out quite as well as they thought it would. Still, a company that used to make trains in industry machines suddenly making a discount Ferrari just 2 years after this? I gotta say, bravo Hyundai, bravo. Mercedes A-Class. When Mercedes introduced the first A-Class to the world greeted it with a
"What the hell is even that?"
And for good reason. A company famous for making some of the finest cars to ever grace the roads was now making what they don't even call a car. No, this was a mobility solution for urban environments. Oh, please, miss me with that pseudo-intellectual bullshit, will ya? But then again, if there was one manufacturer who could engineer such a, quote, clever car, Mercedes probably had the best chance at it. So what if it looked like an amorphous blob on wheels? Or if you didn't know which way was the front? Or if it was taller than wider? Wait, yeah, that turned out to be a problem after all. Mercedes spent 16 years working on it, tinkering, optimizing, believing that people would see the brilliance of it. But nah. So they finally gave up and gave us a proper entry-level Merc, the A-Class hatchback. It grew a nose and turned into a proper car, which, according to over 100,000 online voters, was the most beautiful one that came out in 2012. I wouldn't have gone that far since, that was the year that the 4-door 6 Series came out, but that's democracy for you. What I would agree on, though, is that the new A-Class is a whole 9 yards better looking than the Blab. Seriously, what were they thinking? Now, before I reveal my numero uno, here are 3 more ugly ducklings that turned into swans. Can you guess them? And at number 1, drum roll please, use your fingers and the drumsticks this time, not other parts of your body, Toyota Prius. Discussing this car is gonna get a little political, so just bear with me here. When the first generation was unveiled, it was somewhat ugly, but a clever solution to save on gas. That's about it. It wasn't offensive or hated or anything like that. But then it got picked up by the Hollywood crowd, who acted all virtuous and better than everyone just for driving these, and that's when things got ugly. One day, you'd have Leonardo DiCaprio blaming us and our regular cars for ruining the planet, and then the next day you'd see him sunbathing on his gas-guzzling mega yacht. Yeah, fuck you, Leo. I hope you hit another iceberg, you piece of hypocrite shit mother. Still, the cars are bad movement was born, despite cars accounting for only 7% of global pollution, and anyone who isn't driving a Prius was basically treated like a Nazi.
Are we the baddies?
This automotive activism ultimately culminated with the 4th gen, which was ugly for no good reason other than to be an intentionally provocative thorn in everyone's eye.
Fuck, man, they're getting worse!
But Toyota soon realized that alienating a huge portion of potential buyers who just wanted a good hybrid without all the drama was not a good business decision. And finally gave us this. Not just a good-looking Prius, but a good-looking car, full stop. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I like Prius. So much so that I'd like to own one. And judging from the sales, I'm not alone on this thinking. Who knew that pretty would sell better than ugly, even if it meant that it was being less aero efficient? Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. Go watch something else now, and I'll see you in the next one. Stipe out, and cut! Oh no. Happened again. In the back this time.